Hello, Jump. I actually go live at like 58 or 59 fairly often. Granted, the past couple days has been a little bit more being right on time. All right. Everyone getting their ads for first joining in. Hello, Long, and goodbye, I guess. Yeah, I'm normally actually usually try to go live at like 58 or 59. Granted, past couple streams have been more like right on time, but yeah, such is life. Hello, Jubilant Liar. Every time that name, it always takes me a minute. I'm always like, what is that? Hello, Kata Fan, and hey, Psycho. Hi, Marks. I always switch between Marks and Mark. I'm gonna go with Jason. Hey, Jason. All I wish is for Vi to be put on bottom tier so she can get some real damn star powers. There's a decent chance Vi is going to end up there, yeah. If Elise is lower than A, I'm gonna end you all. Elise, I was actually just thinking about before the stream. She is a bit difficult. She can put out a lot of damage, but can she really put out enough in those early rounds and survive? Honestly, this tier list, we're probably gonna do it, and then there's probably gonna be a couple champions that are still a little bit of question marks for me. That's like, okay, I'm not really set on how I want this to be, and so I need to go and play them again. Vi is the only deck who doesn't have the item Give Rare to Strongest Ally on any card. She only has Give Common for no reason. I mean, this is a tier list just for Lissandra. Yeah, this isn't a tier list for any other part of the game. This is one's just for Lissandra. So, rankings are going to be very different than other areas of the game. Because there's going to be some people that are lower in ASOL and are higher here, and vice versa. Yeah, I also thought I'm going to have to try Gnar as well, because while I did play him, his second star power wasn't working, so not really the best, because they also buffed his second star power. What parameters will you be judging the champs? So I'm considering all the champions at their maximum power, so like level 30, 3 stars, epic relics, and it's just how good they are at clearing the entire Lissandra adventure. All right, right around like 2 more minutes, we'll let people filter in, and then we will start ranking everyone. But yeah, probably we're going to do this, and there's going to be like a handful of champions I just realized I need to test again. And so the actual tier list probably is not going to be tonight, as far as like on the main channel. But I'll probably try to get it out later this week. Can we do the best and the worst side by side so that we can have context? I mean, I was gonna pretty much do it in alphabetical order. right, let's go ahead and start discussing people. So up first, Aurelian Sol. Granted, also, it won't exactly be alphabetical order. I'm going to do it in the order that they are in the game. So Aurelian Sol is the top, even though, like, technically, if you were going straight alphabetical order, Aatrox would be top. But Aurelian Sol, really simple and easy. We all know Aurelian Sol. He's going to be top tier, very strong. Not really anything you can say. Like, he's one of the strongest champions in the entire game. Yeah, alphabetical order, but Acel gets special treatment. That is correct. So next up then, we do have Aatrox. Aatrox is pretty good. He does have a good amount of sustain, which is a lot more important in this adventure than the previous one for Aurelian Sol. Aurelian Sol, you had a lot of different chances to heal. You had a lot of different ones that would, like, completely heal you up. There's, like, a couple bosses. You don't get that here at all. So all the champions that have sustain are better. He not only has sustain from Aatrox strikes, but he also has sustain of having a lifesteal unit in his deck baseline. So he is decent. One issue, though, is he is still a bit on the slow side. And normally I feel like Lissandra can still rush him down. So right now, I'm kind of feeling a bit more like he's actually pretty good down in here in B. Yeah, he's really good at clearing the entire map. But then when you get to Lissandra, he's going to struggle a lot more. So it's like you definitely need to get some good items. Well, everyone, but especially for Aatrox, you need to have gotten a lot of power throughout your run. I think I'm going to drag a couple of these aside for right now, just to try to clear out some space. Right now, I'm thinking Aatrox for B. That's... And also, we're going to adjust this as we go, because part of a tier list is how all the champions rank against the other champions. So there's some we might put in a certain spot, and then as we fill out the list a little bit more, we're like, you know what? In comparison to these other people in B, we switch them around. Yeah, I think for right now, I think let's throw Aatrox in B. He's solid, really good at clearing the adventure up to Lissandra. At Lissandra, he can really struggle to end out the game. Also, Lissandra kind of counters Aatrox in the fact that when she obliterates someone, she obliterates their equipment. And obviously, as an equipment deck, that really hurts you. So I think B is pretty good for right now. So next up then, I believe we have Annie. Yes. All right, Annie, I think she is a A-tier champion. The amount of control you have, you getting a stun every single round, and then you having all of these removal spells, and your removal can kill like anything because of your disintegrates. Annie was a very easy clear without getting like ridiculously lucky as far as powers. Felt very consistent. I would say she is definitely A tier, and I need to look at everyone in the S tier, but honestly, we might move her up here. But for right now, I think she's really good in the A tier. I still feel the end fight of Acel to be incredibly stupid, let alone Lissandra. Hey, board. And yeah, Aurelian Sol. Like, honestly, him going anywhere but S tier would be surprising. He's, yeah, definitely just the best. Annie, though, and Control in general, really good into Lissandra. The best game plan. So we'll put her up in the A tier for now. All right, next up then we have Ashe. Now, Ashe does have control, but her control is a lot weaker. Frostbites are just not as good as the Immobilize from Morgana, not as good as stuns, and not as good as hard removal, such as like Annie. So I don't... Even though control is really good into Lissandra, I don't think Ashe is actually that good. Like, she's not bad, but I feel like she's more down in B tier. And I'm thinking she's maybe even more like the bottom of B tier. Good luck trying to turn 6 with Mordekaiser versus Lissandra. Mordekaiser's actually not terrible. Granted, that is with epics. So right now, I'm thinking Ashe is probably good for the B tier. What are you all thinking? Yeah, so most people also thinking B tier. Yeah, she's definitely feels more like mid or even bottom B tier to me. Yeah, freezing 1 against a full board of thralls. And also, the enemy can buff up their units quite often. Frostbite's just not as impactful as the other ways of control. Alright, so next up then we have Bard. Goodness, where did I put Bard? Okay, chat, I spy. Oh, there he is. So, Bard, he's fine, but pretty slow. I feel like he's probably down in the C tier. You normally have a bit more time, and you do have some solid control. So you have mini morph, so you can get rid of like their watchers at burst speed. So that's pretty good. You also have your stun, but he's definitely on the weaker side. So I feel like Bard is like C, and he might even drop down to the D tier. We'll have to see what we all put down there. So yeah, I think we'll put Bard in C for now. He does have some pretty good, like, strong control. There's not as much of it, but he does have a stun, and he does have mini morph. Mini morph being really good against these giant units, and it's at burst speed, so they can't really do much to stop it. Because mini morphing like Lissandra, Trundle, the Watcher. Hey Kuman, welcome. Yeah, I think C for now. Alright, so next up then, we have Darius right here. I feel like Darius and a lot of the unit-focused decks really struggled. I'm feeling like Darius, even though I love him for like most other challenges, I feel like for Lissandra, he needs to go down in C or maybe even D tier, which is sad. Because while he can like burst down so many enemies, against Lissandra, they not only have a lot of control to like frostbite your units so you can't get your rallies off, entomb them, and you just don't have a lot of answers. Like, Darius is a very simple, straightforward game plan. of I'm going to hit the enemy Nexus and just overwhelm them with as many units as possible. The enemy, though, has enough Nexus health to not die in most situations, and then also so many ways just to shut you down. I feel like we might actually, yeah, put him down in D tier. In my opinion, at the moment at least, control is all like really good, and then all of the unit focused decks are like way lower for Lissandra. I feel like she shuts down those decks so much more. All right, next up we have Diana. Feel like, yeah, poor dude gets counted hard by the whole adventure. Yes, he does, unfortunately. I feel like Diana's probably still S tier, maybe falls down to A tier. She is good. She does a lot of damage. She has multiple viable builds. She is more unit focused, but her whole deck and game plan is just better. I don't know if she really deserves S tier though. Yeah, I feel like she's not going to be as good. Yeah, I feel like she's more of an A tier champion. She's not quite S tier just because the enemy has so much health. You can't end in a single round in most situations. And since you're normally putting all your effort onto Diana, you can get shut down pretty hard by some like back-to-back entombs and stuff like that. So while still really solid, I'm kind of leaning more towards A. All right, chat is fairly split. One moment. Best way to earn wild fragments is do your daily and weekly quests. So yeah, a lot of chat saying S, some saying A. Oh. All right, we'll put her at here for A right now, and we'll maybe move her up to S based on the other champions we put up there. Yeah, just do your daily quests every day. That's kind of the best you can do. Yeah, technically the weeklies don't give you wild fragments anymore. All right, so we'll leave Diana there for now. Next up, we have Echo. Echo is a interesting one. He does have some really powerful cards that I think are a bit more impactful potentially for Lissandra. You're being able to do a free attack with ephemeral copies of your entire board. Really good. Being able to revive your whole board. For me, I'm thinking he goes between B and C tier. Like, for me, he's definitely not A. He's too consistent for A. He feels weaker than Aatrox, but he does probably feel somewhat similar to Ashe. So I feel like, yeah, I feel like let's put him in B for now, and then as we expand the tier list, he might drop down to C. That is very possible. Will you react to the set reveals on stream? No, but we will talk about them tomorrow morning. So whatever, like every day the reveals that came out the previous day, we're going to talk about them in the morning for the first part of stream. Every day we'll just be talking about the reveals before we do like anything else. So they'll be on stream, just not live or not as soon as they come out. All right, so Echo, I think B is pretty good for now. Might move him to C, but for the time being, we can leave him there. All right, Elder Dragon is up next. And Elder Dragon, he's one that I thought would be better, but I don't know. I don't know if I just had really bad luck with him, but I was never able to beat Lissandra with Elder Dragon, despite the fact he's so powerful. And I feel like Lissandra can normally just shut him down pretty easily with all of her frostbites and stuff. Do you have a particular champ you'd really like to see added to the game? Scion is normally my go-to that I think would be awesome. Yeah, Bard is one that we might move him around. Although I think at most he'd move up to B. Oh, in the expansion, I don't really care about the expansion. Or like it's whoever. I don't really have a guess. I don't even know who's in the roster anymore for League. So Elder Dragon, people are thinking A. I'm kind of leaning more towards B. He can normally clear the adventure. He's kind of similar to Aatrox, where you clear the adventure, but then when you get to Lissandra, she kind of shuts him down and she just ends the game before you can do too much. Now, I might have just had bad luck. I think I tried Elder Dragon twice against Lissandra, and both times kind of got shut down pretty hard. Because I went with Elder Dragon, triple epic relics, and it, yeah, wasn't able to come away with a win either time. Have no experience with Elder Dragon? Yeah. We aren't considering Ethereal Remitter, are we? I mean, not really. Like, if they have something really good for Ethereal Remitter and they have a chance to get it, it'll be in the consideration, but we're not going to consider everyone that they guaranteed have the Remitter. So, because that would just completely throw everything if we just think every single person is going to go the top route, have the best possible remitter power. Yeah, so it's not really going to be that important, because I don't want to have the tier list be you have to go the top route, you have to go remitter, you have to go mind meld, and that's the only possible thing. Lissandra runs have quite a bit of RNG in them. Yeah, Elder Dragon, he's one that we'll put him. Actually, we'll do this. So right now, the people that are on the bottom, those are ones that we might move to the tier below, but we'll put them there for right now. Yeah, I don't always go the top path. I'm actually going to take down notes and have a little list of champions that I probably should test more. Elder Dragon, I'm potentially going to do another run with him, so we'll see. We'll put Elder Dragon in A for now. Again, might move him down. All right, let's talk about Elise. So she's another one very similar to Aatrox, where she's really strong. She can rush down a lot of opponents. She has some really good builds, but I feel like she doesn't have enough damage to get through to Lissandra. That is pretty surprising for Darius. Congrats. Although I feel like Elise, she might be one that's a little bit more A. You do need to get lucky for Lissandra, but I feel like you need to get less lucky, because you can just get like one unit with double attack, get that on your Elise, and give that to all your spiders. So like she is good. Yeah, I think we'll put her in A for now. Again, though, the ones on the bottom here, we might move down. We'll have to see. But A for right now is decent. All right. Evelyn is up next. I feel like Evelyn is potentially S tier. So she can have a ridiculous amount of control. If you go for the Starforge build, she's able to ramp up very quickly. So going like Starforge and Tempest Blade, being able to control the board every single round while you have crazy scaling. I think she's probably S tier for this, because an entire board-wide stun every round is pretty nutty. And having massive units. So I would say for the time being, probably an S tier champion. All right, see you jump. What are your thoughts on Evelyn, people especially that have played her? You guys agree? S tier. Yeah, as long as you play her smart, especially after the changes. Hey, thank you for following. I appreciate the support. With the changes to Evelyn and her starting deck, you're less likely to get your units dying. And so you can level her up normally 4 or 5 times. I think... yeah. Right now, we'll leave her in the S tier. We have Garen up next. I feel like Garen is C or D tier. He's once again a unit-focused deck. He has a bit of a better time than Darius because he has better scaling, and you have some like removal you can target every single round. He still gets shut down pretty hard, but I think he's in a better state than Darius. You think Garen is D for Demacia tier? He might be, but I'm thinking more C at the moment. Yeah, I think we'll put him there for the time being. Gnar is up next, and yeah, Garen is definitely better than Darius. 100%. Now, Garen might be better, but they both might be D tier. That is a possibility. But for right now, I think we can put him in C. Now, next up we have Gnar, and Gnar is, to be honest, one that I need to play again. Have you done a encounter tier list, or at least what champions as enemy tier list? No. Still not over C tier Bard. I mean, he might be worth putting in the bottom of B. These are not set in stone. A lot of these we're going to look at how things shape up, and we might move some around. If people have really good arguments for why some champions should be higher or lower, then we might move this more. Now, Gnar, when I played him, he was bugged. So his second star power, which generates a stun every round, wasn't working. And so that was obviously bad. I think Gnar and how they changed his star power, so now you're getting, at worst, a 2 mana stun every round, and that can get reduced down even further. I think that's going to be really big for Lissandra. So I think Gnar might actually be B tier, which I know is probably going to have a lot of people think is crazy. Bard can almost always heal to full with lifesteal generation. That is a decent point, because sustain is very valuable. Yeah, a lot of people really don't like Gnar, but I think the fact that he has decent control and they kind of tweaked his starting deck a good amount, I think he's better than he used to be. I do need to test him because he was bugged when I tested him before. So we'll probably have a video on him coming out soon. But right now, I think he's probably going to be in B. I hope they buff most champions that were nerfed before and got rotated. Hopefully. The lifesteal for Bard is a decent consideration. It is inconsistent, but even if you get it like every other or every like 1 out of 3 games, being able to heal back to full is nice because you don't have almost any heals throughout the entire course of the adventure. So it's... yeah, I think paired with his his crowd control, because he has a decent stun and he has mini morph and he has good scaling, I think we can probably put him in B. He's probably pretty similar to Echo and maybe Ashe. I am valuing sustain pretty highly because there's just no heals in the adventure, essentially. So again, we still might move that around, but I'm convinced enough to put him in the bottom of B tier for the time being. I've done 2 Bard runs, seen 1 all the first tries. Equip the Star Fragment is bonkers on him. Yes, it is. I think Gnar would need some kind of gimmick for transforming to make him more fun. That would be nice. He is kind of a furry Vi in some regards. Alright, so we talked about Gnar. Let's go for Gwen. I think Gwen is probably A tier, because you can fully heal consistently every single fight. You don't have to get lucky for lifesteal. Pretty much, if you're going to win with Gwen, if you win, you're probably winning at full health. And so with that level of sustain, you can let games go a little longer. She still has the same weaknesses that everyone do of just being obliterated, but everyone has that weakness, so it's not like that's specific to Gwen. Definitely don't think she's good enough for S tier, but she's a really good deck. She has draw built in, she has crazy sustain, and then you have your backup atrocity. So like if they try to use a entomb on you when you're attacking, you can just atrocity and potentially kill either the Nexus or a big unit. I would say she belongs in the A tier. All right, next up then we have Alawi. Alawi is either like A or B. She's very similar to Gwen as far as playstyle, very consistent, but she doesn't have sustain. Hello, Shambles. So she's either A or B tier. Yeah, she's like kind of bottom of A, top of B. That I feel like she's more consistent and in general better than pretty much everyone in B tier. Really the only thing is like Aatrox is a bit slower to win normally, but he does have more sustain. Yeah, she's very similar to Gwen, just a little bit worse. Like their playstyle though is honestly like almost identical. Yeah, I think we'll put her... Actually, we'll move Gwen up here. These are more the people we're satisfied in the A tier and might move up. People down here are A tier, but we might move down. So, like, for right now, she's kind of bottom of A tier. And yeah, we might move her to B tier later. Alright, Jack is up next. Jack is fun. You can do a lot of damage. I don't think you really have any sustain though. And if the enemy has I'm Inevitable, you're pretty much one of the champions that you're shooting yourself in the foot because it just shuts down your entire playstyle, because every time you hit the enemy board, you're then hurting them, or you're buffing them, that is. Jack is a very unit-focused deck. Honestly, I feel like Jack is... You think he's low A? Oh, that's... I don't think that would be the case. Yes, we are taking epics into consideration. We're considering every single champion is max level, 3 stars, and like all the epic relics available. See, I'm thinking, yeah, I would not put Jack in the A. I think he's like more down in the C tier. Like pretty similar to Bard, or not Bard, Garen, where it's like you're a unit-focused deck, you have some good options, but the adventure counters you pretty hard. Oh, you meant low B? Okay, that makes more sense. Low B is possible. I'm going to put him in C for the time being. Yeah, he just gets shut down by a lot of the mechanics, and it really sucks, because yeah, he is a great champion. And yeah, remember, all of this is just for Lissandra. A lot of these champions are really good in other adventures, but it's just a lot of the mechanics for Lissandra just shuts down a lot of different champions. Alright, so we did Jack. We have Janna up next. So Janna would be, in my opinion, bottom of B or either C tier. She has elusive, has more removal. She's not as focused on her units, but still fairly unit focused. You have a lot of options with your draw. But again, I think she's probably more like C tier. Granted, her with epic relics, you can get her to cost 0 and have another free card she plays when you play her with the Found Fortune. So you can put a lot of pressure on the enemy early and get ahead. Hey Dream, I'm doing pretty well. So yeah, I'm thinking bottom of B, we might move her to C. Oh, that's a good call. Yeah, that is a very good call. Lissandra's power of like shutting you down if you play too many cards, that is a pretty big counter. Janna is a bit more of a spammier deck, so I think she probably has a similar issue to Aatrox, where you're probably pretty good at getting through most of the adventure, but when you get to Lissandra, she just shuts you down. How niche is Found Fortune? Could just say power if Janna +1 starting mana. I mean, I like Found Fortune. I think it's pretty fun. it's a nice interaction with Janna, especially because it's like, hey, a cost reduced card. It doesn't counter Janna. Janna cost reduction gets really crazy. Your cards very often still cost 0. When I played her, my cards definitely didn't cost 0. However, I was still able to do decent. Late, but the list includes Oath, makes 2-cost champions OP, even Echo with Echoing Spirit. That's true. So I don't have Echoing Spirit. It's one of the epics I don't have. But Echo with full epic relics could be really good. That being said, that probably just makes him like move up in the B tier and not necessarily move up to A. But I do think, yeah, with the epic relics, especially the ones I don't have, Echo's probably better. I mean, no, not everyone has the epics, but for the tier list, we're trying to rank the champions with the best possible power. And so, in my opinion, you either have to use all the epic relics or use none of them. And most people are going to have epic relics, at least some of them. Echoing Spirit puts like 7 copies of your champion in your deck and makes your champion spells cost 1 less. I still think Janna is like C or B tier, but you know what? I will add her to the list. I'm making a list of the champions that I'm just too unsure of and that I need to test again. I try to make my tier list as accurate as possible. That's why I waited until I actually played everyone into the Lissandra. And for the people that's like, I need to test this more, I'll be doing extra runs on them. So I will test Janna again, but I think for right now I'll put her in C, but we might move this up before we make the tier list like official and put it on the actual channel. But we'll put her there for now. All right, Jax is up next. I feel like he's probably top of B or A tier. I think I did win with Janna, but I think it was like barely. But I'm not... I don't remember as much, so I definitely need to practice, or I definitely need to try her again. Yeah, Jax, what do you guys think? Right now, I'm kind of between A and B. He is a unit-focused deck, but he is really crazy and puts so much pressure on. As an Oath abuser, Jax is good. You know what? I don't think I've used Oath of the Guardian on Jax before. That is interesting. I'm writing down Oath Jax just because I think that'd be interesting. Somewhere between Aatrox and Alawi. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking is... Jax really is in this range where it's like bottom A, top of B. He's like at least 2.0. You just use Oath on everyone. It's good to have favorites. So yeah, Jax, I think we'll leave him right here for now. But he really does feel like he's in this sort of range. Alright, so next up we have Jhin. I think Jhin is probably S tier. Well, actually, no. I have him... Jin and Annie are very close in my opinion. I might move both of these champions up to the S tier. The amount of control you can have is insane. And so right now I'm putting them in A, but they might actually be S tier champions. Jin definitely S. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. Let's put these up here for now, because control is really strong. They have really good control. I kind of feel like Annie is better because she can also use her disintegrates. Well, like, see, so Jin has stun and damage, but Annie has the stuns, but she has disintegrate, so she can just nuke anything and kill it immediately. Aesol should have his own tier. Honestly, I mean, yeah, I think Morgana is also up there, which has been ridiculous. All right, we'll put these here for now, but honestly, we might flip-flop between having them be S or A. Regardless, if they're not S, they are the top of A tier. Really, really good. All right, let's take a look at who's next then. Jinx. Okay. I actually don't think Jinx is S tier. I kind of feel like Jinx is more like A tier. For one, if any enemy has I am inevitable, Jinx is completely shut down by it. But Jinx is still really strong, and like when I cleared with her, it was pretty easy. Granted, I did definitely get more of a lucky run. So I think she's definitely still very powerful, but definitely weaker than in most other ones. Darius is D because this is specifically just for Lissandra. Darius is amazing in every other adventure, but specifically in Lissandra, he gets shut down super hard. Yeah, I think Jinx, really good, but she can struggle. For one, she's a very aggro champion, and you're all about nuking down the enemy nexus. All of the enemy nexus have a lot more health here, and so that strategy is not as viable. You can get just completely hard countered by I am inevitable. So she's definitely good, but I think she's actually more of an A tier and not an S tier for this one challenge. All right, so next up we have Kai'Sa, and I'm really not liking Kai'Sa. The couple times I've tried with her, been pretty terrible. Again, if enemies have I am inevitable, you're completely shut down. And I think she's probably not great. Most of you are saying B or C. Okay, then I think I'm probably just biased against her, so I will move her up to C. She does have some bonuses of, like, if you get lucky and you generate the right keywords, like if you get lifesteal, could be good. We'll put her for C for now. My gut reaction is just like immediately to throw her down in D tier, because I've just had a terrible couple times with her. But you are all saying like C, so yeah, we'll put her in there. Which is why I wanted to be able to do this on stream, so I can actually talk through it with you guys, because I know there's going to be some that either I had a really bad time with, or just as something I'm overlooking. So Annie and Jin, I'm kind of between S and A tier. This is just for Lissandra, and control is amazing in Lissandra. And both of them really good. Some of the easiest runs I had without getting like crazy lucky. Also with Annie, you can have a disintegrate every single round. Disintegrate lets you just flat out kill anything, essentially. So it doesn't matter how big their units are, you can still like one-shot them with Annie. So that is why they're up in the S tier. Alright, so Kaisa. Next up is Kayn. I would say Kayn is probably C tier. But you need ping for Annie, which isn't always there. So Annie, I always use Grand General's counterplan so that you pretty much always have an Annie you can play if she dies, or if she's not going to die, you can use your disintegrate. Man, that's crazy. Annie was one of the easiest for me. Would Blue Kayn be D tier? Probably. I don't think I've ever chosen Blue Kayn though. I always go for Ross because it just always seems to be better. Yeah, sorry for the ones over here. These are ones we need to rank yet. I just didn't want to have them on like a separate monitor. So ignore all the ones over here. But Kayn, I think he's probably in C tier. I think he's good enough to not be in D tier. You have good scaling and you have sustain. Yeah, ignore all of these. Welcome back. Oh yeah, disintegrate into what? That is one of the things that throughout the run you do need to try to get more removal spells. So that part of needing to be able to get that, yes. Normally for Annie, you should be trying to save your removal spells and not just using them wherever. But yes, that part you do need to be able to be lucky to draw your spells. Control or Oath, double star gem. Haven't tried Annie against Lissandra, was the best strategy for her. I normally like just to go for Annie, Archangel Staff, and then Grand General's counterplan. The third one you can kind of flex. You can either go for extra damage with Ludens, you could go for like a Guardian Angel, that's decent. On Evelyn, I use Starforge Gauntlets, Luminous Orb, and Tempest Blade. So you can ramp up faster, you get Evelyn on the board quicker, and you're able to stun the entire enemy board every round. But Kayn, most of you were saying D. Do you actually think he should be down in D tier? In my opinion, Kayn is definitely better than Kaisa. So I'm feeling more C, but you definitely could convince me to put him down in the D tier. You think mid C? That's kind of more what I was thinking. So yeah, like, in my opinion, if Kaisa is going to be in the C tier, Kayn definitely needs to be in the C tier. Are you qualifying with relics like no way Nars B without pack powder? Yes. So every champion level 30, 3 stars, and has access to epic relics. So we're trying to take epic relics into account because I feel like most people going into Lissandra are going to have a couple epic relics. I think there aren't enough fodder enemies for the Lissandra adventure for Kayn to shine. I agree. He's not great, but I feel like that's why he's down in the C tier. but he's definitely not amazing. See you, Kata fan. Thanks for hanging out for a bit. Yeah, C seems right. Okay. Glad we're mostly in agreement then. All right, so next up we have Kindred, and I'm probably going to put Kindred in the A tier. Honestly, I feel like Kindred could be the bottom of S tier. Kindred, some of the best builds. You can go like triple Everfrost. You can go double Everfrost and Guardian Angel. And I feel like there's other valid builds as well. I feel like those are the easiest. All right, so a couple people saying S, A. I think I'm fine with putting Kindred in the S tier with like Jin and Annie. I think that's probably fine. Because yeah, Kindred, the amount of control you can have, really good. It was another one of the runs where I feel like I didn't get lucky. It was just pretty easy and I was able to win without too much difficulty, which is how I felt for both of these champions as well. Okay, so yeah, a lot of people very much thinking she's S tier. Great. So next up we have LeBlanc, and I feel like LeBlanc is another easy S tier champion. If I can find her. There she is. Really strong. You have so much damage and control. Yeah, she's pretty ridiculous. One of the most broken champions in the game. I think she's still S tier. Yeah, there's so many different builds you can do. And like, yeah, scissors, very good point. Okay, so we have one person, Conlan, you don't think she's S tier? Unless you're doing scissors nonsense. Well, that's a pretty easy build that doesn't take a lot of luck. Like, yes, you have to have scissors, but other than that, you can consistently do it. So we are going to consider that scissors build. Yeah, I think I cleared her without scissors, and it was pretty easy. I think LeBlanc is, yeah, definitely deserving of that S tier. All right, next up then we have Lee Sin. I feel like Lee Sin is probably down in the D tier. Now, I really don't like Lee Sin personally, so let me know if you think I'm being too harsh, but I think he's probably D. Hey, Tozery. You think he's better than D tier? I could see the fact that he does have really strong star powers. Also, we are considering that the champions have epic relics. And so I think Kayn with the... I'm going to look it up. I can't remember what it's named. Spellweaver's Symphony. So power, when you gain the attack token, create a random spell that costs 2 from your regions. In hand, it costs 0 and is fleeting. I think that with Kayn potentially would help him out. So I'm okay with putting him in C unless you guys think he's actually better than that. Oh, so some people are now... So yeah, some people think D, some people think C. I definitely, yeah, don't really think he's going to be making it up into the B tier, but C or D I think is pretty good for him. Alright, we'll leave him in C for now. Again, once we get everyone actually ranked, we'll probably move people around. I think he's D. He really needs to discount Twin Disciples. Yes. Pretty new to the game, but all I can say for sure is Yasuo is S. Yeah, Yasuo's probably going to go up in the S tier. That is very likely. All right, we'll leave Kayn at C for now. Very well might move him down to D, but we'll keep rating people for the moment. All right, so next up then we have Leona. Feel like Leona is probably either A or B tier. Like, she can have a ton of control, which is really good. Most of the control is a bit inconsistent until you get Leona on the board, so it's not a lot of control early. I think she's probably A tier though. B, just because you can't go infinite stun. Does definitely require Starforge gauntlets. Yeah, probably. Pretty sure I used Starforged on her. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling like, yeah, low A. Definitely not the top end, but she's in there. Yeah, we're considering epic relics. All right, next up we have Lux. I feel like Lux is in a very similar boat. Oath of the Guardians is really good on Leona. I think that's what I use. I think Oath plus Starforged. Yeah, I feel like Lux is probably like low A, but might be B. What do you guys think? A or B for Lux? Okay, so pretty much everyone is thinking like low A or high B. Think we'll leave her here for now, but again, everything might shift around later. All right, next up we have Master Yi, and I feel like Master Yi, especially with the right epic relics, is probably an S tier champion. Although we do have the tax, we do have the Lissandra taxing your spells, so he might actually be A. There's so little in B because there's a couple champions that we might move down and might move up. Yeah, I think Lee Sin is really good. I think he might be S or A tier though, just because Lissandra does kind of counter you. It makes it so you can't quite go infinite because of the increased mana cost. Otherwise, he'd be S tier, but I think he might actually just be like top of A. Yeah, 3 epic fabricators on his champion spell, that definitely helps. Yeah, Yi normally relies on the fact you can go infinite and play spells for free. And I think against Lissandra, he's more of A. And we're probably going to do the same thing with like Nami, that has a very similar problem. For Master Yi, if you can go for Secret Technique, the Epic Relic, Echoing Spirit, also the Epic Relic, and then potentially Lost Chapter, that would probably destroy everything. A little bit of speculation on my part because I don't have Echoing Spirit, so I can't exactly test that, but I think that that should destroy. All right, so we'll put Yi in the A tier for now. All right, Misfortune. Misfortune is probably C or D tier. Because, like, I was able to have a fun build with her with going with triple epic relics, but even then, like, one, if you go into Eye of Inevitable, you just get hard countered. And then, like, you're a unit-focused deck, you're very susceptible to the ice shards. Yeah, I feel like she's probably D. Nexus Tough is also really bad, yeah. Lissandra just, like, hard counters her in this situation. I mean, that's the thing. Misfortune, she does have some pretty fun builds you can do. I actually really like using Spectral Scissors on her, as well as the... oh, what is it called? Death's Foil, the one where you can't die. So I think she's actually good in other adventures. But yeah, I think she probably belongs in D tier, unfortunately. Alright, next up then, we have Mordekaiser. I would actually put Mordekaiser in B tier. I think you have a lot of sustain and you have ways to get into the late game and actually start doing pretty well. I would think he's, yeah, right on this, like, low B, high C line. So I would use Starforge Gauntlets as well as your Disciple of Shadows. I think you use Disciple of Shadows, Starforge Gauntlets, and Corrupted Star Fragment. I think those give you a really good Mordekaiser build. It does require the pay-to-win relic, that is true, but honestly, so do a lot of these champions. See, the thing that Mordekaiser has that Misfortune doesn't is sustain, and then also Mordekaiser's champion spell is amazing into Lissandra, because you kill everything and then he revives his entire side of the board, and then their whole side of the board is just dead. Like, they get one champion that you hopefully are killing with Mordekaiser. So unironically, his 10 cost champion spell is actually good, and normally you can stall the game to play it. Would most of them be one tier lower if you couldn't use epic relics? Probably. Yeah, probably. What relics on Kindred do you run? So you can just go like triple Everfrost. You can go Everfrost with Guardian Angel. That's pretty good. Don't you get blown out by ice shards though? If you're talking about Mordekaiser, no, because normally your units can either survive or they have Deathless. So like, you normally will have some units die, but you're able to revive them or just have them be Deathless so they don't really care as much. Granted, with Deathless, sometimes they die, revive, and then die again. It's not amazing, but I was actually surprised by Mordekaiser. When I played him, I thought he was going to be terrible, and I was pleasantly surprised. He's still not great. Like, we have him in the bottom of B tier, but better than I thought. I thought he'd be more C or D tier. Kindred, yeah, Kindred doesn't even use epic relics. Neither does Annie, neither does Jin. I mean, like, you don't need epic relics for Aesol. So it's not like all these champions need epic relics. I mean, I don't use them for... or you don't need them for Gwen, Alawi. A lot of the champions don't need epic relics on, but about like half of them you probably do. Yeah, if you don't have gauntlets, if you don't have epic relics for Mordekaiser, you're definitely going to have a much worse time. He is a champion where it feels like you need them. All right, Morgana is up next. Very easy. She is definitely an S tier champion. I mean, she's probably the best champion for the entire Lissandra adventure. Like, you just have to avoid it that stares. If you just avoid it that stares, you're fine. Like, other than that, she annihilates the entire adventure. It's so easy. There's literally only one encounter that I've found where she has a hard time. I've done Morgana a couple times through it. She's, like, the best. Yeah, I ran into it that stairs once as well. I had to use a revive, and I was, like, barely able to do it the second one. That one was rough. All right, Nami. I feel like Nami is probably A tier. Now, she does get countered by the Lissandra adventure, so I could be convinced to throw her down in B. I mean, I run Epic Relics on Nami, and it's pretty great. She's still strong without them, although I'm not sure how strong she is into Lissandra without them. Yeah, Packed Powder is great at Morgana, not needed. For Nami, my build, you can run Starforge Gauntlets on her if you want, but I think I normally would go for like Found Fortune, Deceiver's Crest, and Dreadway Chase Gun. You're trying to just have as many spells you can play right away with her, so you can just level her up. All right, who are we on next then? Nasus. Oh boy. So Nasus is probably as well D tier. Grand General's counter plan, you can use that on Nami. It's a little bit slower because you have to wait for the next round, whereas you can use Deceiver's Crest and get it to proc that same round. So like, it's fine, but normally Deceiver's Crest is kind of better if you can win. Yeah, I feel like Nasus, I've even had runs where I had like great upgrades, still got destroyed. He can counter some of the adventures, but then he gets still destroyed. I mean, the buff for Nasus did help out a lot. He's not as bad as he used to be, but still bad. Deceiver's Crest on Moor does sound pretty hilarious. And that could actually be viable for Lissandra. Alright, so next up we have Neeko. I kind of feel like she would be B tier. I don't know. I'm feeling other people probably want to put her in A, but I'm kind of feeling B. I mean, in my opinion, the buff for Nasus took him from F tier to D tier. So for Neeko, you could just go for the normal like Guardian Orb build. I tried to be cheesy and do a more unit focused build before. I got kind of shut down. You think B to A for Neeko with particular builds? Yeah, that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. In my experience, though, I think it's kind of high B. Okay, so most people are happy with Neeko in A to B. I think we'll put her in B tier for now. We already have a couple people in A tier that we might move around, so I think we'll leave her there for the time being. But yeah, we might adjust her, but I think high B is decent. All right, so we have Nico. Nidalee is definitely S tier. You can just dominate so quickly, especially with the Spectral Scissors build. Nidalee is ridiculous right now. We are considering epic relics. You don't need anything else. Like, you don't need to get lucky with any powers for Nidalee. You just play Nidalee with Spectral Scissors. You dominate and destroy everything. And I think even without the Spectral Scissors, she's still really, really good. So it's like, yes, that build is ridiculous. Even without it, though, she is still solid. Yeah, even without the scissors, she's really good. All right, next up we have Neela. I'm kind of, again, thinking Neela is probably in this sort of range of, like, high B to low A. Oh, you're thinking D to C tier? I could probably be convinced to bring her down. So for Neela, you can go for like the Oath of the Guardians plus double star gems. Last one I did was Spectral Scissors, Corrupted Star Fragment, and Gravedigger's Spade, which was okay. I think I will. I've been actually avoiding Oath Neela, but I think I will actually, like, I know it's good, I just haven't tried it into Lissandra. So I'm writing it down on my list to test. Honestly, I could be convinced to put her in C tier. Most of you don't think she belongs in B, or most of you thinking she should be more like C tier. Like, she is a 2-cost champion, so yeah, with Oath, the fact that you can drop her and then potentially drop some big champions round 1. Bottom of B maybe. Yeah, we'll throw her down here. Yeah, she's probably more similar in power to like a Mordekaiser, where it's like bottom of B. So yeah, we'll put her there for now. I think that's fine. All right, next up then we have Nora. In my opinion, Nora is, yeah, probably S tier. Nora's pretty nutty. She's the only champion I think I've gotten a like actual OTK on Lissandra with. Like most of the other ones, even like Nidalee, I think Nidalee took me 2 attacks or like 2 rounds. I did not use Nora's relic. I did not use Nora's pay to win relic with her, actually. She's still good with that relic, but I like to use Transmogulator first, Spectral Scissors, and then Corrupted Star Fragment. Really good. Yeah, her passive relic, like, it's +1 mana, which is always good, but it's not necessary. I did win the Nidalee one in the first round. Okay, it's been a while, so I thought it was 2, but if you check, then okay. Awesome. All right, so we did Nora. Next, we have Ornn, and I think after the buffs, Ornn is actually more of a C tier, and honestly, I kind of like him better than all of these, so I could be convinced to put him at the bottom of B. What are you all thinking for the buffed Ornn? I think he's way better now. Definitely better than everyone in D tier. So Ornn with Starforged Gauntlets and Spectral Scissors, really fun. Yeah, most people are thinking kind of the same. So we have him over here, but in my opinion, Ornn is the best of the C tier champions. And yeah, he could be potentially bottom of B. The one issue with Echo is, or my issue with Echo is I can't test some of the better builds on him, because a lot of people say like Echoing Spirit for Echo is really good, and I can't test that because that's one of the like very few epic relics I don't have. So I kind of putting him at the top of B, but I can't really be as reliable for that one. Yeah, Echoing Spirit. All right, so yeah, we'll have Orin here for now, but I'm actually really thinking about putting him, you know what, we'll put him at the bottom of B because I think he's better than everyone in C. Yeah, we'll have him there for now. The buffs really helped him out a lot, but he could just be the top of C tier. We'll have him there for now, though. All right, Pike is up next, and Pike is really good if you have all of the epic relics, because going Beast Within, Packed Powder, and Scourge of Sash, I really like that build for Pike. But even with that, he's probably B to C tier. Orin was first try. Nice. Yeah, I think Pike is good if, like I said, you have like all the epic relics. If you don't, or if you don't have like the ability to get him some crazy cost reduction, then he's probably down in the D tier, to be honest. But we are trying to consider people with their best builds. Feel like Pike with his best build is low B tier. And remember that with Pike, you do have the ability to potentially wipe the enemy board if he gets buffed enough. Now, that is a bit harder to do with Lissandra, but I think he is really good. So yeah, I think we'll leave him in B for now. I think bottom of B is a pretty good spot for him. Yeah, I'll put him there for now. All right, next up is Samira, and this is an interesting one. Hey, thank you for following, Broker. I appreciate the support. All right, Samira, this is what I'm really gonna need you guys for. It's like she's really good up to Lissandra. You think low AB? Yeah, I could kind of see her in a similar place to like Nico. Oh, someone's saying C to D tier. I'm not going to put her in the D tier. At most, I think I could be convinced to put her in the C tier. Because, like Aatrox, she's very good for getting to Lissandra, and then even at Lissandra, she just gets shut down hard. Yes, she is someone you can't use Oath of the Guardian on. I think she's another one that I've always had such a good build for her. I've never needed Oath of the Guardian, but Oath of the Guardian could actually be a better option because then you drop a big unit. So I will actually try Oath Samira. So I think this is another one that I will test. with her normal strategy that like destroys every other adventure, she definitely feels pretty gimped. But I could see with Oath her being better. We'll leave her in B for the time being. But yeah, this is another one that might either shift. Well, it's probably not going to go up. I doubt I'm going to put her in A. So she'll probably stay in B, or we might drop her down to C. So yeah, another one that's a little bit of a question mark, but in this area, probably B to C tier is where she'd really belong. If you have Helia, you can play Samira 7 cost champ. Oh, I didn't think about that. Did they announce anything for Path of Champions yesterday? No, I didn't see that. Should be stuff today. Alright, so next up we have Set. And I think Set is actually probably a A-tier champion here. He is really good. The mana tax actually doesn't necessarily hurt you because you're refilling your mana. You can be fine with the increased cost and still get around it more or less, and it's going to help you get your rallies off, help you buff up your board. I think Set is actually really good. You have some good control. They just announced something in Twitter. I'll go pull up Twitter. Oh, new banner. That looks like Lux. Is that not Lux? All right, so I think you guys should be able to see this. That just looks like Lux. Is Lux just getting a skin? I guess. Lux 2.0. I mean, that is really cool. It reminds me of the old prismatic skin, the like legendary one for Lux that I bought, and it was so much money, but it was such a cool skin. So Let the Light Guide You in LOR's newest expansion, Dreamlit Paths, coming April 24. It's interesting that they're showing off Lux for a new expansion. That's... I mean, even, like, not only does the face and hair, but also that's Lux's outfit. Like, that's... We're getting a 2.0 champ. Oh, if that's... That would be cool if we had champs like that, because like there's 2 versions of Senna in the game, so why not have 2 versions of Lux? If that's the case, then that's awesome. That would be hilarious to have Lux, like 2 copies of Lux in Path of Champions. Anyways, we'll go back to the tier list, but thanks for shouting that out. I do wish that they announced more stuff when I was streaming. This is Lux once Demacia accept mages. Interesting. Anyways, where were we at? Right, we were talking about Set. So I think Set is probably A tier. I didn't really see anyone else really talk about Set. Do you guys agree, disagree? I think he has a good amount of control. I think he's really strong into the late game. Pretty good into Lissandra. The mana tax doesn't necessarily hurt you. I think he's probably A tier. Okay, apparently he's one just no one else plays. So yeah, if you have him maxed out, if you... Actually, I don't think I used Epic Relics on him. You could use Starforged. Wait, did I use Starforged on him? Let me check. No, I don't even have an Epic Relic slot unlocked for him. So I used all rares. and I had a really good time. I think he's pretty great. Yeah, and he's really good control. I'm going to put him in A for the time being. The mana cost is not really a problem. Most other people rely on cost reduction, but Set relies on just refilling your mana. So the increased cost doesn't actually affect you. Like, similar to Lux, he has to spend mana in order to trigger his powers. So having to spend more mana normally isn't that bad for you. It can actually help you in some situations. And yeah, the fact you have a built-in rally, built-in board-wide permanent buff, and you can get obliterates and double stuns, like, he's really good into Lissandra. Yeah, I was a little bit apprehensive, but once I used him, I was like, oh, he's actually pretty good here. Like, obviously, it's still Lissandra, it's still a pain, but compared to most champions, he's pretty solid. All right, next up, then, we have Tahm Kench. Honestly, I probably need to try Tahm Kench more, but from the time I played him, I just got absolutely destroyed. So I'm thinking he's probably in the C or D tier. So what are you guys thinking for Tahm? For me, I had a terrible time, but I don't know if any of you are having better, if it was just terrible for me. All right, so most people are agreeing that Tahm Kench just isn't really good here. We'll try him out again. So maybe I'll have a better time with him and find a better build, maybe move him up. But last time I tried him, it was absolutely terrible. With Tahm, you normally just need to have big enough units that you can deal with the enemy. But when they're outscaling you so much, there's nothing you can do. All right, so yeah, most people agreeing Tahm Kench is just terrible here. Next up, we have Thresh. I like Thresh. I think he's fun, but I feel like he's probably like a C tier champion. Yeah, what do you guys think? All right, so most people are agreeing he is around the C tier. Some people thinking he's D. All right. All right, so glad we're pretty much in agreement. All right, next up we have Varus. I kind of think Varus is actually in the B tier. So Varus actually has a bit of an issue. Since you have your spell duplication, that counts as 2 cards for Lissandra. So you get hit by her attacks really hard because you can essentially just play like 1 spell. Well, you can play like 2 cards and then you're done. Did I skip Poro King? I did skip Poro King. Now you're all spamming the Poro King. I think Poro King is probably A tier. Again, that is very reliant on having all of the best epic relics. Oh my word. I think my eyes just like skipped down and didn't do a cross. Okay, so the order is slightly messed up. We'll adjust it. So first, let's talk about Poro King. I think Poro King is probably like A tier or high B tier. If you have Spirit of the Buru on him, amazing. You just trigger your star powers right away and just give your board scaling every single round. You can generate keywords like Bard and some other people, so you can potentially get like lifesteal on him. You can also throw on the Beast Within, give all your units extra stats. Also, yeah, I hate that Poro King is called the Poro King. I hate it. Okay, so yeah, most people are agreeing that Poro King is good in this category. All right, let's go back and talk about Varys, just because we were kind of talking about him before. Everyone happy with Varys kind of being in the top of B tier? Yes, we will do Talia and Teemo. You think Varys is maybe C? Interesting. I don't think he's that bad. I could see like bottom of B tier maybe, but I don't think quite C. I think he's better than everyone in the C tier. I mean, yes, Lissandra fight 100% sucks for Varys. Yeah, has the same problem again with like Aatrox and some of these other champions where he's great all the way up to Lissandra, and then at Lissandra, her star powers specifically hard counter you. Yeah, I think I'm good for leaving him in B, but I think maybe moving him down towards the bottom of B would probably be better. All right, let's go back then and talk about Talia. I think Talia is good, especially if you use Starforged Gauntlets on her. But you are a very unit-focused deck. I don't know. What do you all think for Talia? Bottom of B, B. Yeah, that's the thing. Remember, this is like for the entire Lissandra adventure and beating Lissandra herself. So just because they're good throughout the adventure, if they suck at Lissandra, that is hurting them, which is why Varys is getting hurt a lot harder. He is really good until that fight. So people are saying for Talia B to C. Yeah, I think she's better than probably everyone in the C tier, but I feel like B and like the bottom of B is probably good. And yes, like specifically for her, yeah, you do need Starforged Gauntlets. Yeah, I think with Starforged Gauntlets, Talia's better than Garen. She could be down in C, though. I do think I'll actually test Garen again. I think Starforged Gauntlets and Beast Within, yeah, I do think I'll test Garen again. I remember having a really bad time with him, but I could be underestimating him. So I think I'll do Starforged and Beast Within on Garen and test that out. Now, I will say Talia does have the one added bonus that she can kill enemy landmarks, which is pretty good. So that does help bring her up. being able to get rid of enemy landmarks throughout the entire adventure is pretty good. All right, let's leave her there for now. We have Teemo. Teemo is an interesting one. Because, like, with a certain build, Teemo can destroy. But you have to get lucky and get Stabilize or Shadow Totem, which is rough. Hello, new player here. Reward system feels slowdown for unlocking characters and stars. Chapters sometimes force specific characters from a region, limiting diversity and enjoyment along with progress. Do you feel like needed improvement in that? I mean, as someone that's recently gone through it, I think it's actually pretty good. Like, I like the fact that the regions actually encourage you to go out and try to get someone from every single region for the different adventures, and that way you're not just like, oh, I'm gonna use Jinx and just use Jinx and destroy everything else. You actually need to try to fill out your roster. So at least for someone that knows the system and knows how to be the most efficient, it's fine for me, but I definitely could see it when you don't really know what you're doing being a bit annoying. Teemo is really not consistent, so B. The point is to keep re-rolling for Remitter. See, my problem with Remitter is it's so inconsistent. There's normally like 1 to 2 that's really good there, and I'll use literally every single reroll I have and never get anything what I need. So for me, it's like the Remitter hates me, which is probably a good thing because then it kind of forces me to try other paths. But I never get lucky with Remitter. All right, so what are people thinking for Teemo? Some other people said B. It's like he can be really good. Like I posted just a video the other day just destroying with him. That being said, though, I did get lucky with getting Stabilize. It's like he can be too slow. He can get absolutely destroyed. With Epic Relics, you can have good builds, but you still need to get lucky for those builds to actually come online. So it's like, for pretty much all the other champions, I'm not considering like powers that they need to get outside of what they already have. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I don't want to add powers, and since he like needs powers, I feel like, yeah, B or C. Because that's pretty much everyone's like, oh, if they just get this power, then they would be so much better. And it's like, can't really do that. I think we'll leave him in B. Yeah, that's fine, because he's one that, like, you can have good setups for, and then you just need to get, like, a little lucky, and you can, like, destroy. So he can be really, really good. You don't have to get that lucky for it. But your baseline build that you're going into the game with isn't a full package. So yeah, we'll put him in the bottom of B for now. All right, so we did Talia, Teemo, the Poro King. We talked about Thresh, Varus. So next up is Vayne. I think with my last Vayne build, it was actually pretty good. So I'd probably put her near the top of B. So yeah, I use Death's Foil, Chosen by the Stars, and Spectral Scissors. And you're using Spectral Scissors more for the stat buff than for anything crazy. And you still have the potential to do like a crazy Scissors build if you happen to roll like Stabilize or Shadow Totem, but you don't actually need it. Actually, let's just There we go. Okay, so this is the build I used for Vayne, and the Spectral Scissors, you're normally not needing the scissors for their effect, but you have the bonus of if you get lucky and you get a second copy, you can get the entire board full of them. So you can trigger the Chosen by the Stars incredibly quickly. With the Death's Foil and Spectral Scissors, you're going up to 6 power baseline, but then you're also normally throwing on your Golden Spatula, so another 3 stats. So I think specifically with this build, which is sad because it's triple epic relics, it's actually really good. So I think for that one, I'll put her, I think, in the top of B tier. So even though I really like that build, I feel like she's top of B, maybe bottom of A. Did I use scissors that run? I don't think I used it as far as with like her full attack, did I? I thought I normally didn't use it like that. Like, you have that option if you get lucky, which is amazing, but you don't have to rely on it for that build. So yeah, I think I'll put Vayne there. All right, next up then, we have Vhagar. So Vhagar is actually pretty good. You have some control. You don't have to rely on your units almost at all. You have tons of removal. You can just nuke down the enemy nexus. Oh, I would put him. He's, in my opinion, Vhagar is definitely like at least B tier. He could be the bottom of A tier. I haven't tried Vhagar with the tough nexus, but that could be pretty good into Lissandra. So my normal go-to Vhagar build is the cost reduction, Scourge of Stash, Luden's Tempest to increase all your damage, and Duplicator. So yeah, I try to get him on the board as early possible. Chemtech I do think is probably a must for Vhagar. Yeah, I think like bottom of A or top of B. Because he's actually pretty good. Because you can scale up those darkness, you can get them in hand, and then you can just drop a whole bunch. Yeah, the Ludens is definitely one you could really switch out. It's helpful, the Ludens, but it's not like, oh, you need to have this. Whereas I feel like the cost reduction to get him on the board earlier is pretty necessary, and the Chemtech Duplicator is very necessary. But yeah, throwing on something like the Tough, you definitely could do that. And that could help you wait until your Chemtech comes online. So that's definitely a good suggestion. So yeah, I think we'll put Vhagar actually up here. Pretty good champion, has some good control. If Lissandra has I'm Inevitable, it's hard. Not as bad as most other champions because your darknesses hit pretty hard. So it is more difficult, but not as bad as most other champions for it. So next up we have Vi, and I feel like Vi probably deserves D tier. And it's like, I'm one of the people that I really like Vi, but she's really good at rushing the enemy down, but into Lissandra, they have so much health that you just run out of steam before you end the game. So I think it's pretty bad. Yeah, pretty much everyone... everyone's agreeing that, yeah, it's bad. I mean, that's the thing. I feel like Vi has just gotten power crept by everyone else so hard. Yeah, I think, like, when she launched, it was okay. Like, she was still on the weaker side, but it was more acceptable. But now everyone else is so much stronger that now she's just feels power crept and incredibly weak in comparison. Yeah, it's very much just a power creep issue that she's been left behind. All right, so next up then, we have Volibear. I really like Volibear, and I've tried multiple times into Lissandra. Every time, I just get shut down. Now, I will say one of those attempts was I'm Inevitable, which is really bad into Volibear because you rely on your damage to kill enemy units, so I definitely had bad luck. But for me, I've really struggled with Volibear. How have you guys been feeling with him? I have been able to get to Lissandra, but never beat with Lissandra. And I'm using triple epic relics. I think I tried Vi with triple epic relics. I think it was still not... Oh no, double epic relics. And it still wasn't great. Yeah, that's my same problem, is Volibear just gets counted in too many different ways. Champs that have I'm Inevitable problem, I usually have luck when I get the remitter. All units have 1 health. Or 1 power. 1 health and power. Thoughts on the new rotation? I don't play PvP, so I have pretty much no thoughts on the new rotation, sorry. So most people are saying B for Volibear, which I'm fine with. I think he's a really good champion, and I really enjoy him. But I think specifically into Lissandra, he just gets countered by so many different things. I thought he was going to be one of the best. He was the first champion I used in Lissandra. I thought that he was going to be really good. Every time I've played him, though, I just get destroyed. And I'm using triple epic relic builds. I wouldn't... It depends on your definition of worst region. Because if you think region... Like, other regions have stronger champions. But overall, I feel like Freljord is still probably better than Shurima. Just their overall, like, their average is probably stronger than Shurima is, potentially. But, yeah, it could be the worst region. Volibear needs kills to get going. Doesn't have good initial units. Yeah, I think Volibear is really good into every adventure other than Lissandra. And even then, he's okay, but he's normally like an A or like... Yeah, he's normally really good. I think dropping him down to B is sad, but needed. What's the Lux build you run? So Lux, I use Starforge Gauntlets, Luminous Orb, and then you could run Chemtech Duplicator. Chemtech Duplicator is not as good into Lissandra because, like, playing multiple spells kind of sucks. Comet is okay. Yeah, Shurima is hard carried by Nidalee. Like, Nidalee is amazing, and the next ones are okay. You know what? I think we actually need to drop Lux into the B tier. Because I wasn't thinking about it, but Lissandra does counter you pretty hard. Because normally for Lux, you want to be playing multiple stuff in a single round, multiple spells, and just like rally back to back. And the mana tax for Lissandra is actually pretty bad. If I don't have gauntlets, what are good alternatives? So for Lux, let's go talk about Lux for a moment. So there's a lot of different ways you can play Lux. For one, you can just focus on a very passive build and not even play her at all. Her deck works really well without her. So you can just go for, like, honestly, triple Starchild Staff. Wouldn't be that bad. You can always go for some stuff like Archangel Staff, Comet, and then maybe like a Scourge of Stash down here. So you try to get Lux on the board as soon as possible. She then starts giving you spell mana and then making these fleeting 6-cost spells in hand. You get a lot of removal from this, and this triggers your star powers. So you then get your Golden Aegis, you're leveling up your Lux. So that's also a pretty good one. There's a lot of different ways you can play her. Also throwing on a Chemtech Duplicator and maybe getting rid of the Comet, throwing this on, or using the Comet with it. There's a lot of different ways you can play Lux. Yeah, I don't think Comet is the best build for Lux, but it can be a lot of fun. So if you just want to, like, annihilate the enemy board with falling comets, with your lasers, it's a good time, but probably not the best build in my opinion. All right, we have like 1 or 2 more champions left. All right, so we have Yasuo and Yuumi. I guess the ones over here. Yasuo, I feel like he should be in the S tier. Really good, a lot of control. Yeah, I feel like he's probably S. Yeah, and S with rares and commons. You don't need epic relics for your Yasuo. So yeah, most people are fine with that. Yuumi, I feel like she's probably B tier. So you do have Minimorph. Minimorph is great. But you do have the issue of all of your attachments getting obliterated. So you do have that problem of if you get entombed, for most other people it's like, okay, I can try to hold off for 2 rounds. But for Yuumi, you really have an issue of like, okay, your Yuumi or any other attachment just got annihilated or obliterated, so it's gone. For Yasuo, there's a couple different things you can go with. So you can go for like a Tempest Blade, so level up stun all enemies. You can also go for Crown Guard Inheritance, so you rally. You can go for Grand General's Counterplan to make your stun every round. Everfrost, also good. Yeah, there's some different things you can piece together to find a build that fits your playstyle. Overwhelm is solid, but if you can just have the entire enemy board stunned, then you don't really need it. But Overwhelm can be good if you can't consistently stun the enemy board. Can Vi have her own rank like 1,000 away from D? Not quite. What are you all thinking for Yuumi though? B tier? B tier good? Or should we... she could honestly be moved down a bit. B or A, not less. Interesting. All right, so let's think, do we want to move Lux down? I feel like Lux might actually be top of B tier. When specifically thinking about Lux into Lissandra, like if you use Chemtech Duplicator, you get really destroyed by the power. Lissandra's mana tax power. And I didn't really consider that one rating her before. I feel like she probably is more down in the B tier. Yeah, Chemtech Lux is definitely bad into Lissandra. Your spells getting doubled actually hurts you, because even your 0-cost spells get increased in cost. So you really do struggle. So I think we have to move Lux down to B tier. Alright, so anything here that people think needs to get adjusted, as far as what I'm gonna test out again, Elder Dragon, I'm gonna do another run with him, see what I think, because I had a lot of similar issues I had with Volibear with Elder Dragon. Gnar, gonna test him out again, because last time I played him, his 2-star was bugged, and so it wasn't working. Gonna try out Janna again, but she's probably gonna stay in the C tier. I'm gonna try out Oath Jax, Oath Neela, and Oath Samira, because all of them 2-cost champions with Oath is really good. And then I'm going to try out Tom Kench and Garen with Starforged Gauntlets. Yeah, I think Gnar is fixed now, so I think he should be pretty good in this B tier. But just last time I played him, he was bugged, so I haven't actually played him through Lissandra when he was working. Janna is B tier. Yeah, that's why I have her listed as one of the ones I'm going to test, because it's just been so long since I played her through Lissandra, and I'm not clear enough in my thoughts on her, so she is one that might move. Alright, so other than Janna, who's going to get tested, anything else here that people think is just wildly misplaced, should be changed? I think so far most of our rankings people agreed, even if it was like slightly up or down. You don't think Jinx is that high either. Jinx relies a lot on the enemy not having I Am Inevitable. Yeah, I could see Jinx moving down a bit. Although she'd maybe be like the bottom of A tier. I don't necessarily think I'd want to put her in the B tier, though. In the end, she'd do an Oath session to review certain placements. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of these that they're normally really good without Oath, and they have better builds in other adventures, but some of those builds, like for Samira, are a lot spammier. So, especially like Oath on Samira could be decent. Yeah, bottom of A feels right. Yeah, I'd kind of feel that a little bit more with Jinx. Nami probably closer to bottom of A2. Yeah, I could see that. LeBlanc with 3 Stalkers felt like a face roll. Can we move her left? So I think the order won't really matter as much. It's more like the which level they're on. Because I'm probably going to put them up in alphabetical order, but yeah, pretty much everyone in S tier is ridiculous. Bring back Misfortune on C. She had Varus and Vi on the same tier. I feel like Varus is better. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do for the tier list is I'm going to put people up in alphabetical order, but I will have these like kind of two different tiers within the A and the B. So it's like, yeah, these will go out in different orders, but other than that, we'll probably just leave people in alphabetical. I don't really want to add, like, I don't know, I kind of like just having A with these two and B with these two. I feel like it kind of look a little too crowded. I mean, A and B are kind of split apart already. Some of the S are S plus. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some different ranks within the S tier. Because some, like, Annie and Jin are, like, S, because they're better than, like, everyone in A, but they're not really on the same level as, like, Aurelion, Sol, and Morgana. So, possibly. I normally don't like having tier lists that are just like too broken up, but I'll think about that. Although really for the S tier, like it kind of doesn't matter, because if you're an S tier champion, you should be able to reliably win regardless. All right, I think that will be generally it. We might do another stream where we revise some stuff some more, but on stream every day, where the first thing we're going to do is break down whatever was announced the day before, because they're releasing things like in the afternoon, which is after I'm done streaming. So in the morning, we'll look at whatever they revealed the following day. So we'll take a look at that first. Probably over the next couple days, we'll probably be working through the tier list a little bit and testing out some of the champions and maybe revising this. So the actual tier list video probably won't happen until later this week. I like to be very satisfied with my ratings, and I'm pretty satisfied with this right now. There's definitely some people I want to be a little bit more set on, though, because yeah, I like trying to make my tier list as reliably as possible, and that way there's always comments on tier list of people complaining about where stuff is, and I like to be very set in stone of like, no, I'm happy with where these people are. I think this is the most accurate it can be. But thank you all for tuning in. We'll be streaming again tomorrow and every other weekday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Since Lissandra is hard, are you going to qualify with relics? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Like, we're just going to let people know that we're using epic relics on people. That being said, I'll maybe try to shout out, like, this is S tier with these builds. Potentially, one thing I'm considering is when I'm doing the actual video, having another section here on the side that shows the champion we're talking about and potentially throwing up a build. That is something I'm considering. But yeah, we'll see. Anyways, thank you all for hanging out. We'll be back here tomorrow, and I hope you all have a good rest of your day. See ya.